Hey everyone, this is Domina Mara, and I'm going to be answering interview questions from Dom Addiction today. Just a little bit about me. I am a professional dominatrix. I also am lifestyle, but have very select few that I play with for that side. I am based in Los Angeles, California, and I'm looking to be touring North America and hopefully expanding into international waters in the near future. I've been professional for over 5 years, and I am looking forward to sharing my story with you. So, the first question that is on the list is, has it always been easy to control men and have power over men? And my answer to this question is, when I was 5 years old, I went to a private school, had uniforms, and the boys would be young and dumb and like to tease girls. Well, they like to tease me more than anybody else, and I don't know why. To this day, I still don't know why. But in response to them calling me names, sticking their tongue out at me, I got physical with them. I pinched them, sometimes hard enough that my nails left marks on their skin, and I also kicked them in the shins and in the balls because I knew that it hurt there. Because I did it to one boy and he went down and stayed down and didn't tease me again. There were a couple of instances where the boys went to the teachers and told them that I was hurting them, and I looked at her straight in the eye and said, he started it, he's calling me names. And she looked at me and she was just like, you don't do that, you don't get physical, you tell me and I will deal with them. I mean, boys are gonna be boys. They would say like, oh, I didn't do it, or I'm not doing anything. So I took matters into my own hands, and I didn't feel guilty for it, and I still don't feel guilty for it. And it gave me pleasure to hurt them a little bit and show them a taste of their own medicine, because after that, they were scared of me. They shut up every time they saw me, and it was glorious. They respected me in the hallways. There was one boy who was in awe of my methods, and he went so far as to be like, does that not hurt on you? And I gave him my arm and I was like, you try it. And he pinched me as hard as he could. He even broke skin. And I was like, no, it doesn't. And that's how I gained respect. And also took control over boys when I was younger. And that mentality has led up to today as a grown woman, as a grown dominatrix. So the second question is, do I role play being dominant, or am I naturally dominant? Do I role play being dominant with my submissives or slaves? I have a naturally dominant personality. If you've never met me, the first 2 minutes of our interaction, you can already tell that I am very confident in myself, and I don't bow down to anybody. I respect everybody as a human being until they get into the room with me and until they fetish being lesser, consensually. In my line of work, I am 100% the same as I am talking to this camera right now and answering the questions as I am with my slaves and my submissives. I treat all of them how I normally talk. The only difference is there is role play if they want to do a scene with a teacher, student, or mommy, baby, or child, that kind of specific boss employee relationship. Other than that, I am always 100% myself. I feel like dominance will shine through based on the delivery of how I command my sentences, how I act in session, but it has to have a natural sense for it to really come through as being real. And that is one of the things that I think I'm lucky with, because I don't have to pretend. I can just play. The next question is, if I could have any celebrity at my mercy, who would it be? I don't really idolize or follow a lot of celebrities. I feel like they're just humans with really high profile jobs. You know, there's a lot of screen time and a lot of press that follows them. But if I had to choose, for males, it would probably have been someone like Brandon Lee, which was Bruce Lee's son. R.I.P. from The Crow. That movie was my initiation to who he could have been, who he was, and all of the potential that was unfortunately lost. And as for females, that's a tough one. I know that I would love to double dominate with Angelina Jolie. Everybody knows what she looks like as a dominatrix from Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but also she's been this fierce tigress, goddess, mother, force of femininity that I really love and admire, and I think it's super sexy. To me, she's still the best Lara Croft that could ever be. So that's who I would choose to co-dom with and dominate. The next question is related to the types of slaves or submissives that I attract. Because I have such a straightforward personality, most men just want to be dominated in a way where they just relinquish all responsibility. I do impact play and tease and denial. I do love CBT and foot worship. Because I'm a foot model and have been for over 3 years, feet are a huge customer satisfaction type of session. It's instant gratification, and it's something that I can tease them with for a very long time. As for financial domination, I do have slaves that come in and out of my life every so often, but it's not as consistent as my foot worshipers or those who want to do goddess worship and those who just want pure domination. So I think it could be split into two categories: domination and goddess worship. And then within domination, that's the impact play, the tease and denial, and all that stuff. And then on the goddess side, it's body and foot worship and being a lowlier creature than who they are worshiping. And of course, with that lies the financial domination aspect of things, because that is the tribute that the submissive gives to the dominant. So the next question is, do I prefer to break in slaves myself, or do I prefer well-trained ones? To be honest, I don't have many men that give me a lot of resistance, and I can tell because if they're going to be that way by how they go through my screening process. Those who don't want to provide a reference or who refuse to send a deposit, I don't session with. If they aren't willing to put the effort in to showing good faith, then how am I going to know that they're going to actually stay and pay for the session? Those who I actually like, people who are the most open-minded, and those are the people who end up following all of the protocol that I have in the beginning, and it makes for such an easy time, and that helps us get to play faster. The quicker that I am able to receive all of the information, including the deposit for my sessions, because I usually do in person, that's half the battle. The rest is dedicated to them and their fetish. The next question, I kind of touched on it lightly already, but it is, what fetishes do I like besides the obvious favorite of financial domination? I love all aspects of BDSM. I don't break skin, I don't play with blood, I don't do scat, and I don't switch or sub. I tend to play in a very wide range of things. So anything else though that has to do with corporal punishment, impact play, role play, foot worship, body worship, tickling, I love tickling. I love bondage, I love rope, I love trampling, and I love just the general power exchange that happens when I play, because people want to transform and give up what they usually are in the default world, and this is the best way to do that safely and consensually is by taking their fetishes and bringing the joy that I have in facilitating those fetishes out to them. The next question is, can I describe what the feeling is when I have total control over a submissive or a slave? Or is it just expected of me as a dominant? I don't go into a session expecting anything, because I feel like any expectations, just like with a submissive, if they go into a session assuming that the session will go a certain way, they are unfortunately susceptible to being disappointed. I also don't like being disappointed, so I go in with a blank mind. I go in knowing what my skill sets are, and I go knowing what information that I've received from what they've told me, or if I've played with them previously, how to bring that space back and enhance it or push them to further limits. I feel like I am in this, it's not a glow of power per se, I don't get high off of power, but there is a sort of turn on when I have successfully exchanged that sense of power as a dominant. The greatest reward in BDSM for me is seeing a submissive or a fetishist super relaxed and smiling as they walk out the door, because that's how I know that I have transformed them into something that they've always wanted to become, that other people don't get to do for them, or that society condemns them for, and I'm the one who facilitated it. That makes me very happy, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's a feeling that it's like I have done my job, and this is the proof. The next question is, how can you tell if I've completely broken someone and they are just totally susceptible to do anything that I wish? I had a financial sub once that had financial troubles, yet because of the type of person I am, we've only sessioned once, and he was my financial submissive for about 4 months before we actually played together. So it was all virtual correspondence. I have a very defined vision of what I want to achieve in my life, and despite having these troubles at home and with finances, this older gentleman just kept giving me what I thought I needed at the time. Any whim purchase that I wanted. Technically it wasn't whimsical because I had them planned out. They are implements or apparel for domination or revamping my wardrobe. And there were times where he couldn't financially give me things, so he had to take a break. But because of the amount of content that I was outputting through social media, he couldn't resist and just kept gifting me anyway, regardless if it was just one small $20 item from Amazon or if it was a $100 paddle from Etsy. I really appreciated the dedication that he had towards me. I always tell him, like, I wouldn't trade it for the world. So thank you for being such a good financial sub, even though there were rough times, and he was able to cut himself off when he needed to. As per domination scenes, I can tell when somebody has completely submitted to me, not necessarily breaking them, but just submitted to me because they have an expression of bliss and they just don't want to be anywhere else. They just want to continue that moment with me and that scene with me, and it looks like they want to stay there forever. That's the tell sign that I know that I am doing the right thing and that I am facilitating something that is invaluable to them for the rest of their life. I create intense scenes, but I also create really relaxing, nurturing scenes, and both correspond with each other and create this really unique experience, Mara style. So the next question is, have I ever been recognized in public at any events? I'm pretty much out I go to kink events that I feel like are relevant to my lifestyle or to learning new things that I could use in my profession. I will always post where I'm going on my social media, especially if it's something for the general public or if it's a well-known BDSM event or company sponsoring the event. And I have the general public or slaves or submissives that are potential or just followers on my social media who come up to me during the events and say, "Oh, are you Mistress Mara?" And I say yes, and they introduce themselves and we have a quick chat about their kinks, how they got into it, and what their interests are. And it's pretty amazing that they can recognize me through my photographs. I have a unique enough look, I feel, that I can be distinguished from just the general public, but it's just nice to know when people are following me, they come up to me and they're uninhibited by their nervousness or whatever it is that may cause them to not say hello. I'm also a really friendly person and I don't discriminate against what dynamic you are or if you are just vanilla but curious. I don't care about gender or age or anything, so I'm a very easy person to talk to. So the next question is for slaves and submissives who want to impress me. What are some of the things that they can do to do that? If you're new, read my website. I took hours to A, create the website myself, and B, write everything out based on my own research and my own personal preferences, because those are the things that I actually want. Like, I literally describe it as I intended on the website. So if you've done your reading and your research on me, there's not a lot of questions that you might want to ask. I'm pretty clear. If you don't see a fetish on there, or if you don't see a gift that you're not sure if I want, go ahead and write me an email in a polite, concise manner and I will get back to you with it. It's just as simple as that. I feel like people who have done their research and approach me in a very positive, polite way will always receive a response and my gratitude. I don't think that anybody should be reprimanded for asking about tribute, and actually I prefer them to ask, because if they decide to just get me random things without looking at my wish list, then it becomes obsolete. And I would like to make use of all of my gifts. The next question isn't really a question, it is based on, is there anything else that I would like to, I guess, to my admiring followers or my admiring submissives? It's keep doing what you're doing. I don't think you should fear wanting to try new things. I answer a lot of questions on my interviews that I have on my publications page on my website, dominamara.org, and I'm pretty open to trying new things myself. So if I haven't done something, I am open to trying those new things with you, if I also have an interest in those things. I also want to thank everybody who are my subscribers on my YouTube channel and those who are following me on my Twitter and my Instagram accounts. I post daily and I respond to all of my emails within 12 to 24 hours unless I'm traveling. And I would like to thank people for approaching me in a polite manner, for those of you who are true players, and for those who are my colleagues that help me grow and learn on my day-to-day by watching you and your styles, and for your friendship. The final statement and question I think is the most amusing is, how would this interview end if somebody was conducting it in person from Dom Addiction? I would ask what their fetish is, or if they are kinky, and I would ask them if they wanted to try anything Mara style. I would facilitate a mini scene or session on camera and see what you guys think. I hope if that happens in the future that there are comment boxes and suggestions of feedback from whatever occurred, but that's how I would have ended it. So I would like to thank domaddiction.com for providing these questions for the interview and for featuring me on their website. I hope that I have answered these thoroughly. If not, you can comment on my YouTube channel below, and make sure to subscribe so you have an update on all of my future videos that have female perspectives on domination and from my personal experiences. And don't forget to subscribe to my Twitter at Mara Domina and my Instagram accounts at Domina Mara and at Mara Domina. Thank you for having me. I hope this was enlightening to you, and I hope to see you in the playground soon. Mwah.